Welcome to Werewolf Radar, the world's premier paranormal preparedness podcast. My name is Jordan Dahl.
I am Nick Bolton.
I am Roger Norquist.
Today's episode of Werewolf Radar is brought to you by the Monstroco Monstrocam, a brand new webcam by Monstroco with high definition resolution of your fears and a skin on-off filter. The Monstrocam by Monstroco. Stream the night. That's what it says.
As it's right to.
That skin on off filter, I mean, it sounds too good to be true, but it works. And let me tell you, don't push it.
Yeah, you think that filter means it's not going to happen in real life?
Yeah.
Just going to be in the image?
No, it happens. You're going to ruin your Mountain Dew Code Red limited edition gaming chair. You're gonna get friggin' oils. You're gonna get fatty oils and blood all over your keyboard. Just don't click it. It's nice to have. It's a good feature. Don't click it.
You could use it on your enemies, maybe trick them into sitting on. Yep.
That's nice. And then you can put the skin back on and you can be like, now remember, I can do that whenever I want. Now give me what's in your wallet.
Oh my goodness.
Capital One, please.
What a good product.
What a good product. They've done a lot. We need to talk about the San Juan Ghost.
Yes, we do. Everyone, if you haven't seen it yet, head to our Discord. You can find the link on our Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
But we have the picture of the San Juan Ghost. You can find it on Reddit too. It's our ghosts.
Yeah. This thing has been rocking the airwaves of the internet.
I'm going to share it for our YouTubers so you can see what we're talking about.
It's very spooky. It is the story goes that this person's sister took a selfie with her and her friend in the bathroom, and then in the background,
her friend was a ghost.
In the background, there's an open door or maybe even a corner of a mirror. I'm not really sure what the setup is there, but there seems to be a very terrifying kind of charred corpse with a grinning inhuman smile on its face in the background. It's very frightening. It is in the original story, the person says that the land that they're living on supposedly has some kind of ties to like Native American folklore, but that seems a little too horror movie to be true.
It seems like it's a trope versus a truth.
Yeah.
Although I will say the haunting of colonizers seems like a good thing.
Yeah, I will say that you're going to be hard pressed to find anywhere in America that didn't have some sort of horror befall the original people who lived there. But it's a really scary
it seems
picture.
To have a hair, like it seems to have hair. It seems to be smiling to me.
Kind of lank, greasy hair hanging down.
It kind of seems like it noticed fun being had and it wants to join.
Oh, God. Ugh. Let me put my arm around you. Let's take another selfie, girls.
Well, you know what they say, making friends never ends.
But we saw this and have not been have been unable to not speak about anything else. This picture has haunted my memories.
Yeah, I found it originally at 1 a.m. in my my nightly scouring of the internet for the scariest thing I can find online for some reason. Before I go to bed every night, it's so strange. I have this weird habit of being like, let's find the most frightening thing imaginable. And I found it, got it. Here it is.
You told me about it while I was watching your stream yesterday or Friday or some shit while I was on break from lunch, and I had to go back to work knowing this thing could be behind me.
A lot of people have tried to kind of debunk it. There's a lot of our ghosts, the subreddit for ghosts is a horrible place filled with fucking armchair scientists who really think that they have it down. But it is also a place where shit gets done. There's a lot of filter processing that has happened. There's a lot of enhanced pictures of it you can see. There's also people who have said that it looks a lot like the picture from the Russian sleep experiment, No Sleep. Do you remember that? Where it was like
see that?
Yeah. Go ahead and see if you can find that one. That one's pretty spooky. So the story is it was a no sleep spooky pasta, so it wasn't real, but the story was that like the Soviets gave this group of prisoners all these amphetamines and deprived them of sleep for days, weeks, months, to the point where they started like self-harming and like
self-cannibalism as well.
Self-cannibalism and like saying crazy things and drawing weird demonic like patterns and codexes and shit on the walls of their place. And there is
this just sounds like art school.
Yeah, there is one particular picture that has been used and associated with that is actually has been proven to be a prop like that you can buy at Spirit Halloween that has been altered. Like, yeah, there's the picture. So
but it looks remarkably like it.
It looks a bit like it for sure.
Similar.
But not exactly like it. It more just looks like a different creepy grinning thing. And I saw somebody who was like, oh, this is it, we solved it. And like, no, you didn't. That's a bit of a leap. It looks a bit like that, I agree, but to say it's the exact same thing, I disagree.
Let us know what you think in the YouTube comments after you see the photos put together, Tell us, engage.
Come at me, our ghosts subreddit. You guys built this toxicity. I am a mirror of yourself.
But that's what people are calling the San Juan Ghost.
Yeah, my dog is freaked out. I'm sorry. She was surfing the web and she saw the San Juan Ghost and she's frightened. But yeah, so we had to talk about that at the top, but that is not what
we
we're talking
cannot
about
see the dog you're petting.
Yeah, nobody can see her. Is that weird?
We hear it.
Well, that's not what this episode's about.
Is not
we got
what this
three other
episode
topics.
Is about. We all watched Prey, which is fucking amazing. Best Predator movie since the original. I don't think it's the best. I think the original is still, I mean, it's very much a product of its time, but I think the original is just about a perfect action horror movie, sci-faction horror movie that's filled with ridiculous dialogue, but the beats are impeccable. But we specifically, as you can imagine, focused on that one point where she says that it looked like a Mupitsl. I think she says Moopitz, actually, which is, well, we were like, what is that? What is she referencing? And so we did a little digging, and we are going to talk about some Native American folklore today, beginning, I think,
if you want, let's do it,
with Roger's breakdown of the Moopitz.
And truly, it's not my breakdown. Jason from the Crypto Science Society shared online and in our Discord a great read that I suggest you find called Moopitz, Cannibal-Owl Monsters of Comanche Folklore and Paranormal Preparedness in Indigenous Storytelling.
Hell yeah. Not even one that he found, one that he wrote. He researched and wrote this one because we were talking about it.
Our listeners and friends are talented people. Check everything out that they do. That's the Crypto Science Society, because they also write more things than what we could truly cover.
Yeah.
But this is from Jason right now. And where can I go? I'm not going to read all of it because I want you to read his own work and actually enjoy it. But in the lore of the Predator movies and comic books, the Predator, as I'm sure we all know, is an alien from the species called Yautja, which I'm probably pronouncing wrong.
Sure. Well, you could to really pronounce it, you have to not have a mouth.
Yeah, you have to have a mandible system,
You
and
gotta have those crab parts. Now, here's something that I think that came up when me and my girlfriend were watching this together. Is the predator fishy?
smelling.
Just overall vibe. Fishy?
I wouldn't say fishy.
Okay.
I kind of think so.
I went with fishy.
I went fishy.
I mean, like you were just brought up a crustacean, which I think is maybe a lot closer.
Okay,
Fair.
but like oceanic. You could say that this critter is somewhat oceanic, right?
Listen, we're just gonna have to get a xenobiologist on the show to talk
We're
about
gonna have
this.
to get a xenobiologist,
But it's really
they're
just
gonna
that
have
face.
to suddenly die in some sort of weird problem that we have to deal with for the next 90 minutes.
It really is just that face, though. The rest of them almost seem like a mammal.
But is that Hollywood doing what Hollywood had to? Like, if they had the money, would
kind of webby
have
feet.
gone? That's fair.
Okay. Anyway,
So-
carry on.
They have rival clans who compete in sport hunting, the most dangerous creatures in the galaxy. We all know, humans, xenomorphs, all of them.
Man.
And it is rare that they come to Earth. And in the movies, at least, they have only been here 3 or 4 times. And it is implied that this visit in Prey is the first visit. Now, if you haven't seen Prey, the movie plays out like an indigenous story in keeping with oral traditions of the Comanche people. Like these traditional stories, it teaches things like how to be a good hunter and warrior through the actions of the main character, Naru.
First one, build a hatchet that has a rope.
Hell yeah. Oh, that rope hatchet. I've been working
seems
on
like a good thing to have regardless of your situation.
It honestly does.
As long as you never use it. That's why I'm covered in gashes.
In the movie, she uses her superior tracking skills and knowledge of the environment to succeed. Spoiler alerts. She adapts her knowledge of herbal medicine to beat the foe, and the title has shifted from predator to prey because Naru has chosen it to be the focus of her Kahatamaya, which I apologize for how I pronounced it. This is a rite of passage when one hunts something that can hunt them, usually a big cat, bear, or monster alien.
Or Velociraptor.
Ooh, Velociraptor, like in the first Tomb Raider game, when you can hunt Velociraptors in like the very first stage. What a great fun game that was.
This game's ruled.
But Naru...
Impeccable triangular boob physics, too.
Impeccable. But Naru is no common warrior. She notices that there is something else out there killing the most powerful creatures. Rattlesnake, wolf, bear, and even her own people. She learns that the Kahatamaya is not about proving oneself as a hunter, but about survival. And if you've seen... Go on.
I literally just remembered that I had a dream last night about the predator, 2 predators landing in a spaceship, and one of them got bit by a rattlesnake and had to cut its own arm off.
Dude.
Dreams
That's what happens when you start hunting on a new planet. Accidents happen.
It's also what happens when you stop smoking weed. Dreams come back, and boy, they've had some shit that they wanted to say.
God, I'm not looking
sure
fun
seems
for my...
like there was a reason to stop them.
Yeah.
Now, Naru believes that the predator to be a Mupitz, although reliable ethnography, and I said that the worst way possible, ethnography on the subject is limited. Most references describe Mupitz as a creature from Comanche folklore said to be a great owl that eats men, a gigantic bird that once lived, or a cannibal-owl.
Interesting.
Who goes after missing or misbehaving children.
Wow. That's a very specific taste for an owl to have.
I like them misbehaving or missing children.
I like them nasty boys.
Which is kind of like a boogeyman.
Hilarious that it goes after missing children.
They've been bad as of late. That's why they're missing.
They're about to be even more missing.
Extra missing for me, please. That is a trope that comes up quite often, specifically in folklore, because that was a problem. Like, hey, listen, if you run off into the woods, we don't really have a safety net. So like things will get you, and you need to be careful. And kids were like, whatever, I'll beat up a wolf. And it was like, oh yeah, what about this?
Oh yeah, for sure. And Jason has done the great work of finding 2 Comanche stories published throughout the years, and I'm going to read both of them.
Cool.
And make sure you check out this. It's at sciencecryptojournal.wordpress.com. And once again, great work, Jason. Thank you for allowing us to read this. And this story comes from, or was published by anthropologist Alfred Louis Krubert in his 1923 book, Gross Ventre Myths and Tales. Long ago, people were camping in a certain place and the children were playing by a creek. An older girl with a baby joined them. In the meantime, people moved away without the children noticing it. As they were playing by the creek, one of them happened to look toward the camp and lodges. He called out to his friends, telling them that they had been abandoned. They called him a liar and sent one to look. He saw the same way. They did not believe him either. A third one also reported that they were all gone. It was getting late, and the children decided to leave the creek and try to follow their relatives' trail. While they were going along, Coyote met them and warned them, right by the side of the road, a big owl has his house. Do not go loudly when passing there, or he will hear you. They go and they go and the little children, or the little child, begins to cry. Owl hears him.
What do you picture when you hear owl house?
That show.
This might be my own like thoughts on myth and stuff, but I'm straight up going Baba Yaga style house.
Interesting. I see kind of a tree house that's rounded with a little door and so many mouse pellets on the ground.
Yeah, I'm picturing it living in a giant clock for some reason.
Okay, now
regardless of how the house was designed, Owl heard them and said, "Bring here." The child thought it was really his uncle and went to him.
Oh, buddy.
So we got mimicking skills.
So it's mimics, yeah.
His older sister objected, but he persisted. All the children were afraid of being alone and wanted to go. Then they all went to Owl. The older sister was afraid. "The big owl will eat us," she said.
Yeah.
They immediately understood, as the owl wanted to eat the child.
It became apparent when he started eating
immediately after licking its lips or beak.
Yeah.
The children...
It should be mentioned that the Moopitz also has a beak with big old juicy lips on it.
That's what makes it so sexy.
It's the most kissable owl.
The children, owls are not very kissable, so this one definitely up there.
Yeah.
The owl tried to escape. Nope. The children tried to escape, but could not. They told the owl that they wanted to wash by the creek. The owl allowed them to go, but bade them hurry back.
So I can eat you.
Indeed. Wash up, and then I will eat you. Because first of all, if you're going to escape, I'm the owl. I will hunt you down.
I'll find you.
Yes.
I will find you.
They told the owl that they told Owl that they wanted to wash by the creek. The owl allowed them and bade them hurry back. At the creek, they met a frog and told him that they were in trouble and called upon him to help. The owl had us.
What am I gonna do, man? I'm a frog. What am I gonna do against an owl, dude?
Maybe it's that frog from Blaster Master.
Ah, okay.
You'll see. You'll see. That owl has us and will eat us, they said. The frog said, "Yes, I will help you." They then said, "We're going to run off. When Owl calls us, Frog will answer for us, and that we will have a big start out." Owl called the children. Frog answered, "We're still washing."
Whoa, genius.
He repeatedly gave the same reply, fooling Owl. Finally, Owl at last saw the children had ran off. He went looking for them and even flew as he went along.
Good moves. Good moves, Frog. Frog is friend.
Frog continued to answer still. "We are still washing." But at last, Owl came upon Frog, and Frog said, "For once you have found me. The children went away a long time ago." Owl said, "Legged rascal, you have been fooling me, and you let them get away. I will kill you." And then Owl struck the frog with his cane.
Whoa! Wait, what? Wait, that's a piece of info we didn't have at first.
Oh, he's got a cane. Everything
Okay.
has a cane. You got a cane. You don't have a cane, Jordan?
I don't have a cane.
Jordan, we got to get you a cane.
You have that sword that's inside of a cane.
Ah, that's true. I think of it more of a sword, though.
Everyone listening, join our Patreon, become a Dark Council member so we can buy Jordan a goddamn cane.
My knees hurt.
Here is the second story from the Comanche Language and Cultural Preservation Committee newsletter with the article called Pia Moopitz Kanik or Kani, and it reads as followed. Sorry. A giant lived in a cave located in the southern slope of Elk Mountain in the early days before the white man came.
Nice.
Extracting 2 buffaloes every fortnight from the Indians living south of the mountain. He was a constant and fearful menace. As the years went by and the buffalo became more scarce because of the frequent buffalo hunts of the many different tribes, the fulfilling of the giant's request was made increasingly difficult. Slowly, the white men came in. They also organized buffalo hunts.
That's us.
That's us. Finally, when the Indians found it almost impossible to furnish the required number of buffalo, they held a council. A young brave was designated to confer with the giant concerning their problem. Cattle were to be suggested as a substitute. Approaching the entrance of the cave, the brave called, "Great giant, I come before you to ask an important question." The giant said, "What is it that you want?" The brave said, "There are not enough buffalo on the prairies or in the mountains. Would you accept beef of cattle instead?
Mm-hmm.
We have been eating it for years and find it very delicious."
We call this a
it's
Big
not
Mac.
lean enough.
The giant said, "Cattle are very small, but I shall be satisfied if your tribe bring me 20.
Dang.
The cattle were thus substituted for the buffalo, but the change in diet did not agree with the giant.
Dang.
He became increasingly irritable and nervous and menacing.
Wow.
The coming of so many white men, bringing confusion to the quiet mountain country, was also disquieting to the giant. The Indians, trying to appease his wrath, brought him 40 beeves, finding his new diet more and more disagreeable.
Perfect math from 20 cow to 40 bees.
No, beeves.
Oh, beefs.
Yeah.
And the encroachment of the white man unbearable, the giant left his cave for a more secluded spot in the larger mountain range further west. And in this story, according to Jason, the Moopitz is referred to as a giant.
Oh, okay. Same guy.
Different
critter.
guy. Now let's go to paranormal preparedness in Indigenous storytelling. Jason was kind enough to write down some bullet points, which we'll get into. The movie Prey, I can't say brilliantly. I can't say it even then. The movie Prey weaves genuine representation of Indigenous folklore and draws upon traditional storytelling to teach valuable lessons. They are practical lessons like don't let your bowstring get wet and wait until the hawk circles back before shooting it so you don't have to cross the river to collect it. Which when I read that, I was all like, oh, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, it's a good move. That bowstring thing. And when it pays off, spoilers, it's good.
So here's number 1 in Indigenous paranormal preparedness in Indigenous storytelling. Do not engage until adequately observing the monster's tactics. Which straight up, good move. You don't want to go in there just like, I'm going to go fist punch this beast. Like what we see in so many Hollywood movies. What was that one? Tomorrow War? Where they end it?
Fist Puncher, I think.
In Tomorrow War, is that the one with Chris Pratt, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Him and his father end up defeating the alien monster by punching it. And then they stab it, but still it's like, what? This thing's ripping apart soldiers. How is your fist now doing something?
Well, that was its one weakness, was fists.
Number 2, know your herbal medicines well and how to adapt their use to the situation. For sure, there's healing herbs, there's poisonous herbs. Don't fuck that up. Know how to use both.
Or do fuck it up and have a really weird time in the woods.
In moderation, Nate. You can't keep taking toad poison in such large doses. You're going to die.
He'll be fine.
Number 3, know your environment. Number 4, know how to set traps. Number 5, which is probably one of the most important ones I feel, be willing to adapt to using foreign technology and tools. Sometimes you might lose something you're used to. You pick up something you're unfamiliar with. You got to adapt.
Got to adapt. You can't, you'll end up in a tight spot where your original plan isn't panning out. You're going to have to be able to shift, adopt, adapt, improve.
Well, and I mean, I think, and I could be wrong here, but in Prey, the Predator does, I think, see the various weapons that they're using and creates all of its own weapons based on their technology.
Yeah, you were saying that. I didn't pick up on that part, but that is a cool idea.
All right, we're all going to have to watch Prey again.
I'm definitely going to watch it again. Jason was saying that there's an Apache language version.
There's a Comanche version of it, which is, as Jason told us, phenomenal.
Yeah.
If you can get over, once again, the 2-inch wall that is subtitles, it is a great movie in Comanche.
Sick.
Well, 2 inches. I don't know.
That's my favorite quote from Bong Joon-ho is that Americans hate subtitles. It's like a 2-inch wall they can't get over.
He's right. He's right.
Number 6, test these new methods before using them in the field. And for sure, test everything you do before you fight the monster. Make sure it works.
Yeah.
Learn your grapple hatch.
Yeah. Practice with the grapple hatchet. Find a small version of the monster and practice on that.
Number 7.
Build a monster out of Nerf and pillows.
To be honest, should we do that after this episode?
We should definitely have a practice monster for our grapple hatchet work.
All right. Number 7, do not give up in the face of ridicule.
One from Monstroko. They've got plenty of practice monsters.
Yeah, but the Monstroko practice monsters can always fight back, and it's upsetting.
That's like level 2. Let's build our own using Nerf and pillows. Then we'll buy the Monstroko practice monster.
The Monstroko combat homunculi.
And number 7, do not give up in the face of ridicule or bullying.
Yes.
And a side note to that point, if you're the one doing the bullying, behaving like a disrespectful child, you will face grave consequences.
Also, don't give up.
A giant owl is going to come and eat you.
Yeah, but keep doing it because we need you to prove that the owl is real.
And I'm sorry for taking up so much time with that, but the work Jason gave us and shared with us was phenomenal. I truly suggest you check out the article from them at the Crypto Science Society.wordpress.com. You can probably type in Crypto Science Society, Science Crypto Journal, and you will be able to find it. Plus, they have a Twitter that you can find this article linked to as well. Great work, Jason. Thank you very much. And now I will pass off the talking skull to one of you.
I'd like to go if you don't mind, Nate.
Sure, go ahead.
Okay, so I actually found myself. I was like, what is one of the the closer to my heart Native American legends, of course, Sasquatch. Sasquatch is originally that is the phrase that, that's Bigfoot's true name, as it were. And it comes from Native folklore. And I kind of started reading around and seeing what I could find about Sasquatch in Native folklore. And that led me to the story about the stick men. Y'all know about stick Indians?
I'm scared to learn after what I just talked about.
So there's I have a couple of stories here about what is known as the hairy man, which is kind of what Bigfoot is known as in some of these older stories. But at first I wanted to talk to you about stick Indians, because they kind of seem interconnected with the legend of Bigfoot. They also kind of have some nods toward the Moopitz as well. There's a lot of trickery going on. There's some stealing of food, if not children. But this is from Astonishing Legends. This was a piece written in November of 2018. And this says, the Northwest Indian tribes, particularly the Salish, have a tale of a particularly malevolent and dangerous being that dwells deep in the forests of the Northwest. They are known primarily as stick Indians. And I actually came across this at first when I was one of my nightly carousings of the SCP Foundation forums.
Jordan, these are why the nightmares are coming.
Truly, but right before I went to bed, I was like, let's read all of the scariest SCPs. And I found one that was about, that was called the Stick Indian. And it was like they had captured one. And this is what it does. This is how they keep it contained. And ultimately I was like, is this a real thing? And I kind of started looking around, and it turns out that it's a real thing from folklore. Physically, their description changes from tribe to tribe. Many legends acknowledge that they at least somewhat resemble other Native Americans. For example, the majority of tribes describe they are about as tall as any other Native Americans. However, this isn't universally true. For example, the Nez Perce call them little people. The Salish and several other tribes say that the Stick Indians resemble our idea of Bigfoot.
So they're what, about 6'2" sometimes?
Yeah, or I mean, Bigfoot gets up there.
5'7" to 7. Little to big.
Little to big. So keep your eyes out open for anything that's either little or big. The Stick Indians are seldom seen. They are almost completely nocturnal, and it is said that their language does not mimic human speech, but instead sounds like birds and other animals.
Oh, that's different than what we've heard in like the Ron Moorhead tapes or the Sahara tapes, to where it's like whatever's speaking out there has a proto-native language, and it has the characteristics of like a humanoid language, I guess.
Sure. Well, I've also heard in other stories that they do mimic human speech. They specifically will mimic the sound of someone and like try to get you to come near, or to just mislead you, almost like the kind of fairy myths of Europe and what have you.
Yeah, I mean, presumably they can do human speech, and they're just speaking like animals because they're out.
Who doesn't want to speak with the birds?
Sure. They primarily hunted and fished to feed themselves and seemed to not have any permanent settlement. They were clothed with deer skins and other fixings from the forest. It is believed these creatures got the name Stick Indians because they dwell in the forest and share many traits with animals of the forest rather than typical tribes. Other inspirations for the name Stick Indians are believed to come from their puckish habit of thrusting sticks into teepees, lodges, and individuals while they slept. Yeah, you heard me.
Yeah, I did.
A wide range of objects to spear.
Yeah, you sleeping away? Not anymore. Stick right in there. Gotcha. Bird sounds running away. Similar to puckwudgies, these beings were not a problem until they were. Many stick Indians will play pranks on villages during the night when they come across them. These pranks, while annoying, were fairly mild. For example, they would steal fish from nets, take off with food, and remove men's clothes.
Ooh la la. Sometimes.
However, when
I
threatened,
do like that there's a weird hierarchy, like an evolutionary process for mythical characters, where eventually they're just like, what if we get up to mischief now?
I think it's one of those things that only happens when you're an immortal being of sorts, to where like, well, I've done all this other stuff. Mischief now?
Yeah.
I guess it's time to go throw rocks at a freeway.
We've all been there. However, when threatened by other tribes or when tribes interfered with their lives, the powers of these creatures would soon be on display. Stick Indians were incredibly vindictive and always sought revenge. It is believed that the Stick Indians have some powers of mental persuasion. Although, take your clothes off.
Yeah, they're not stealing men's clothes. They're convincing.
Yeah. Although the range of the powers, some believe they have the power to hypnotize or cause instant insanity. Although the range of the power differs, almost every tribe agrees that they are able to induce dread, confusion, and anxiety in humans. So they're weed. Got it.
What, you mean they're Machine Gun Kelly?
Get him? Cause anxiety to humans, especially humans wandering alone. One of the ways they accomplish this is through disorienting a traveler by whistling and mimicking animal noises. That's another thing, is the whistling. And you also see in certain interpretations of the story, the old, if you hear the whistling and it sounds far away, that means that the Stick Indian is very close
right
to you.
next to you.
If it
The
sounds
reverse
close,
location,
it's
or
far
I don't
away.
know what to call
Exactly.
that.
I think it's the reverse locationer. I cast reverse locationer. Many people who disappeared were thought to have been taken by the Stick Indians as punishment for disrespecting them. Children specifically were warned of the Stick Indians and wandering through into the forest at night, because the Stick Indians stole them away and brought them up to act as wives and slaves, which you don't want. So Stick Indians, bad dudes.
They
Yeah,
definitely
they're
don't
out
seem
there.
like the best intentioned peoples.
Tricky dudes for sure.
Doing a lot of weird stuff.
Mhm.
I guess going from spearing a teepee to stealing children for slavery is a pretty big jump.
Yeah.
Listen, it's a fine line in the mischief world between slight pranks and slavery.
Yeah, it's less mischievous and more fucked up. So these are actually I just wanted to throw these in there because I found a paper from what is this? Give me just a second.
No worries. I'll dance.
Nice work. Keep dancing. Keep dancing. This is the Relict Hominoid Inquiry by Kathy Moskowitz Strain. This was written for the U.S. Forest Service, Stanislaus National Forest, Sonora, California. And these are some traditional stories that involve the hairy man, or as you might know him, a Bigfoot.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Jeff.
So this story is called How People Were Made. All the birds and animals of the mountains went to Hochu to make people. Eagle, chief of the animals, asked each animal how they wanted people to be. Each animal took a turn and said what they had to say. Fish
Eagle
said,
was like, make them cool, give them sunglasses.
make 'em dope, give them a dirt bike. Fish said, people should know how to swim like me, so let them be able to hold their breath and swim very deep. Hummingbird said, people should be fast like me, so let them have good feet and endurance, even though hummingbirds famously have pretty bad feet. Eagle said, people should be wise, wiser than me, so people will help animals and take care of the earth. Boy, that one backfired.
Yeah, well,
Like,
you
I
can't
was
win them
gonna
all.
say, it'd be unbelievable if this was what people were.
Turtle said, people should be able to protect themselves like me, so let's give them a shell. And Eagle said no. No, I'm kidding. People
And Turtle was the head of the NRA from there on out.
people should be able to protect themselves like me, so let's give them courage and strength. Lizard said people should have fingers like me so that people can make baskets, bows, and arrows. Owl said people should be good hunters like me, so give them the knowledge and cunning. Condor
I do
said,
enjoy that the implication here is that lizards are making baskets.
yeah, they make some. They're not good.
You ever seen a
baskets.
lizard basket, Nate?
Well, I
It's
live
slimier
inside
than
of
you're
one.
expecting.
Condor said people should be different from us, so give them hair, not feathers or fur to keep them warm. Then Coyote said people should be just like me because I am smart and tricky, so have them walk on all fours. Hairy Man, who had not said anything yet, shook his head and said no, people should walk on two legs like me. All the other animals agreed with Hairy Man, and Coyote became very angry. He challenged Hairy Man to a race, and they agreed whoever won could decide how people should walk. They gathered at the waterfall below Hutchu to begin the race. Coyote started and took a shortcut. Hairy Man was wiser than Coyote and knew that
So
Coyote
he painted a tunnel on a wall.
would cheat to win, and people would have to walk on all fours. So Hairy Man stayed behind and helped Eagle, Condor, and the others to make people. Wow. They went back to the rock and drew people on two legs on the ground. The animals breathed on them. The people came out of the ground. Hairy Man was very pleased and went to people, but when they saw Hairy Man, they were scared and ran away. That made Hairy Man sad.
Oh, it made me sad.
Yeah. This next one is called When People Took Over. Oh, wait a minute. There's actually an addendum to that last one. When Coyote came back and saw what they had done, he was very angry and drew himself on the rock, eating the moon. All the other animals drew their pictures on the rock as well, so people would remember them. Hairy Man was sad because people were afraid of him, so he drew himself sad. That is why Hairy Man's picture is crying to this day. That is how people were made.
Boy. Poor Hairy Man.
I feel
Poor Hairy
bad.
Man.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry, Hairy Man.
This next
Coyote,
story
I
is
think you need some
I do
therapy.
like this creation myth. a lot,
Yeah, this is
though.
a good one.
pretty dope, right? This next one is called When People Took Over. People spread out all over the mountains, taking all the land and eating all the food. Animals didn't have any place to go. Eagle, chief of all the animals, told the animals that they could not remain in their traditional places because people had taken them. He asked them where they wished to go. Eagle said, "Where are you going to? What are you going to become? What will you be? I myself am going to fly high up in the air and live on squirrels and sometimes on deer." Hairy Man said, "I will go live among the big trees, giant sequoias, and only hunt at night when people are asleep."
It makes it seem like you're going to be hunting people.
It kind of does. They go on.
Well, but also in this scenario, eagles are hunting deer.
First of all,
Sometimes they do.
yes.
If it's a little deer or a stupid deer. I'm gonna flash ahead here because all the other animals talk about where they go. Coyote says, "I will go about killing grasshoppers. That is how I will live," which is pretty dope. Coyote, pretty funny. We're gonna jump on to the next story because this one is also interesting. I think it's very interesting that in these stories they kind of all reflect things that we think about Sasquatch, Bigfoot, Hairy Man to this day. You know, solitary, not around people, hunts at night, lives among the giant sequoias. This next one is an interesting tidbit that maybe is some insight into what they eat. This is called food stealing. In the old days, women learned never to leave their acorn meal unattended. They would spend all day pounding on the big rocks near the river, making the acorn meal, and then take it down to the river to leach it. They would then leave it in the sun to dry, but they would come back and it would be gone. They would find big footprints in the sand where they left the meal, and they would know that Hairy Man took it. He likes Indian food and knows to wait until the acorn is leached of its bitterness before taking it. We always wondered if he liked the sound of women pounding acorn and knew when to come to get food.
All right.
He likes acorn meal. He likes the same thing that people eat.
As someone who's
Um,
allergic to nuts and stuff, I did
Mhm.
not know that about acorns.
Well, there you go. So those are some
can
traditional
definitely eat
stories.
I mean,
about-
you can't, but
I didn't know they were bitter and you had to make them sweet and better.
Those are traditional stories about hairy man, and maybe if you're trying to hunt for hairy man or at least a picture, you can throw out some leached acorn meal and in the middle of the sequoias and make sure to do it at nighttime so he's not afraid by you because you make him sad.
That is,
yeah, this is,
I think-
why are you hunting hairy man?
Leave him alone. He's already so
He's-
sad.
He's
And that-
crying in a cave.
Yeah.
that does suit as well with other stories we've heard of Bigfoot, especially like the one that gave garlic all the time or sought garlic
Oh,
from
yeah.
that lady always at night,
Mm-hmm.
and then traded her various berries and nuts and stuff for the garlic.
Berries, give me the garlic. Give me the good shit. I'm making a
He was ma-
roast.
An excellent Italian food cook.
Yeah, he's making a nice sauce. I'm making a pomodoro. And that's it. That is my segment. Stick Indians, and the Hairy Man. I'm calling it.
Nice.
All right. Well, I have more of a list. This is I guess it's not a Jordan listicle, I suppose, unless I am Jordan, and I think maybe Neil might be Jordan.
Oh God, I'm withering. He's taking
What?
my life force.
We all have a little Jordan inside of us.
Ah, I'm growing old.
Jordan's inside the smile of every child and inside the
Yes.
hearts of every lovers.
And inside the water supply.
So this is, it's 10 Native American creatures and monsters. Although we've covered a bunch of them, so I'm really just going to stick to 2 or 3.
Give us the heaters. Give us the hits.
So the first one that's pretty fun is and obviously, disclaimer, we're probably pronouncing things not correctly.
And also disclaimer, by fun we mean terrifying.
Yes.
Yep. The Baycock.
Joke.
So
Joke here.
Baycocks are creatures with origins in Anishinaabe or Ojibwe mythology. I think I'm mispronouncing the correct name. They're created when a human warrior dies a dishonorable or shameful death, particularly after committing some evil crimes such as fratricide or incest.
Damn.
Often they are unable to rest because their bones are scattered or thrown into lakes by those they've wronged,
Wow.
which prevents them from moving on to the afterlife. They appear as emaciated skeletal warriors with eyes that glow like red coals buried deep in their eye sockets.
Whoa. Fucking, that's some Skyrim shit right
Yeah,
there.
that's like the advanced Dragar.
Exactly.
They wear the ragged tatters of whatever clothing they wore when they died, typically hunter's clothing. They usually hunt by making themselves invisible and fly through the dark night sky, making
Yikes.
thrill-piercing screams.
So there's
That's
no
right.
stopping them.
No.
Don't even try.
Piercing screams that strike fear in the hearts of all who hear them. Once a victim becomes frozen with fright, the Baycock shoots them with its invisible arrows or strikes them dead with a war club. Then it tears them open and massively devours their liver.
Good Lord.
That's the sweet meat, though.
It's that good
Yep.
good liver shit.
They have powers of flight and visibility, making them extremely dangerous to begin with. And then they have apparently also unnatural strength and endless hunger. They can, however, be laid to rest by recovering all of its. So you have to quest for this thing to kill it by
Yeah.
recovering its scattered bones and giving them a proper funeral, allowing them to pass on.
Oh, okay.
At least there's
So-
an answer to this horrifying thing.
Yeah, but it's, kind of a huge pain in the ass.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
monsters like this so rarely come with a built-in paranormal preparedness like that.
That's true.
Good deal.
The next one, and again, the Endamkinoet, I think. Native American cultures, like communities around the world, include tales of half-human, half-fish beasts that inhabit waterways.
Whoa, sick.
So this is basically the Algonquin merman.
Nice.
Cool. That's my favorite bar in Seattle.
All the myths and legends of this mythical creature describe the Endamkinoet as a male who likes pretty young women, and as the stories go, lurks in lakes, rivers, and streams, and accosts young women and girls when they remove their clothing to bathe.
Okay.
Sometimes it doesn't even bother the women. It merely watches as the woman swims nude and washes herself. In other legends, the creature takes its voyeurism a step too far. Is there a step too far? Like, it's already crossed the line.
Yeah, we're already past a couple lines.
I'm sure we're gonna find out.
By swimming unseen beneath the surface to molest an unsuspecting bather.
Oh wow.
The merman does not try to kill the women, but he certainly lived up to his reputation as the perverted merman.
The perman. Wow.
Be careful in them waterways.
Yeah.
There is, of course, another more fearsome creature stalking young women. This one's from the Zuni people, the Atahassia.
There is another.
Described as a huge and demon-like, much larger than a normal human. The there's an H in there I can't pronounce.
Sure.
Atahassia, I think, covered in thick, knobby skin and long gray hair. It is muscular and scaly with bulging red eyes.
Yikes.
Numerous tales in the Zuni oral tradition describe the Atahassia abducting and cannibalizing young women. As menacing as the Atahassia was, however, most of the tales about the cannibalistic demon end in the creature's defeat. In one story, for example, the Atahassia lured a couple of beautiful young girls back to his cave. He tried to trick the young maidens into sampling the soup he'd been cooking, made from human children he'd abducted.
Well,
that sounds like it's one of those situations in movies where like the being or creature brings you in and you just smell like the worst stew imaginable. And so like, please try what I've been cooking.
First of all, never go with a hippie to a second location, as they say. Second of all, never try their hippie soup. Never try secret soup that someone has been cooking. And never try the soup of someone you don't know. I'll put it that way.
I think that's fairer paranormal preparedness.
Yeah. And that's just good life advice.
When that didn't work, he tried to convince the girls to comb his silver hair. In this story, however, the two girls were saved by the Zuni god of war, who killed the demon and rescued the maidens.
Nice.
Just like walking by. What's all this then?
What's all this then?
Is that child soup he's got there?
Why the Zuni god of war has a British accent? That's on us.
Yeah,
apologize.
Fell into it.
Well, we made him kind of a Bobby, if you will. He definitely he's like swinging a baton and wearing one of those conical hats.
Just stops the crime in the process. There you go.
Yo, Nick, son. I definitely fought that guy in Sekiro. I think he's the first boss.
Is he really?
No, but there's a horrible red-eyed ogre that sounds a lot like this. The knobby skin, the silver hair, terrifying. Use fire.
Also good paranormal preparedness. Pretty much always use fire.
Generally speaking.
So this next one is the Taehyung and the Nimerigar.
Oh, the Nimerigar. I know that one.
Yeah, well, it's close to a pukwudgie, I think.
Yeah.
According to legends, these weren't cute, jolly Disney-esque dwarves, however. Instead, they were strong, fierce, and brutally warlike. In some myths, the little people were magical forest gnomes, while in others, they're a fearsome foe. Taking its name from the Arapaho word for strong, the
You got this.
I need to have a drink of water, I think. Taehyung were said to have made their homes on the plains of Wyoming and Colorado, where they could prey upon the Native American people also living there. The Nimerigar, whose name means people eaters, lived in the Patron Mountains near the Wind River in Wyoming, which I think we have covered these.
We've talked about the San Pedro Mountain gnome. There's that strange body that those guys found that had its skull crushed in.
Yeah, well, and because both of these people were described as being child-sized and aggressive and cannibalistic, which I think were all things that the Pedro Mountain gnome was as well.
I think I have an irrational fear of like that archetype of like small, mysterious cannibal because it's gonna bite my shins right away.
Sure.
And I don't have a lot of protection down there.
I would call that rational.
Your Achilles heel is about to be severed.
Exactly.
The dwarfs would kidnap and devour children, kill livestock and animals, and attack adult warriors with ease. They were equally brutal to their own kind. As the stories say, the Nimerigar practiced a gruesome form of euthanasia, which we've definitely talked about, by bashing in the skulls of their members who become injured, fallen ill, or grew too old to be useful.
You see? Do you see?
Do you see the future we want?
This is the future liberals need. The only way we can have generational wealth is to kill the old. Nearly all the myths surrounding these fierce little dwarves conclude with accounts of how Native American tribes banded together to wage an ancient battle against the Taehyung.
Nice.
The little people were soundly defeated and the entire race exterminated.
Nice.
Then have we talked about the Piazza Bird before?
Hit us with it. I can't remember.
It's basically a thunderbird. The Piazza Bird was a mythical creature that allegedly lived off the steep cliffs along the Mississippi River. Quite different from the Thunderbird, however, as it was depicted as a flying dragon in ancient paintings.
Whoa.
Dating back to at least 1200 CE.
Damn.
Sick. Man, it's crazy how everywhere has a dragon.
It is,
and it's different from a bird,
bizarre.
like distinguishably, recognizably different from a large bird or thunderbird in this case.
Right. It is also interesting how, like, you know, in the case of like something like the Mupitsl or the thunderbird, how there is these like generational memories of megafauna or like gigantic birds that you shouldn't fuck with.
Yeah, but
ideally, but
so many people must have been brutally destroyed by giant lizards at some point. Like there was that shit's in your DNA.
Yeah, there was that like gigantic predatory emu that lived alongside native people in Australia for years. They think that it was actually hunted into extinction, much like the mammoth.
Yeah, well, I mean,
at least that helped drive it.
I mean, they even had an emu war later.
This is true.
They lost the emu war, by the way.
They did lose.
Emus won. Emus win 1-0.
There is an actual account of the Piazza Bird. However, in 1673, Father Jacques Marquette wrote about the Piazza Bird in a journal he kept while traveling through the area. In it, he claimed the creature was as big as cattle, with blood-red eyes and antlers on its head, which sounds like a thing we don't talk about, but
it sounds like just something Western people love putting on native monsters. It's got antlers. It's native to this region. All things on North America got antlers.
The body was covered in scales, yet it had a human-like face. It also had a long, thin, snake-like tail.
A chimera-ish creature.
Exactly. According to legends, the Piazza Bird feasted on human flesh, but not fresh flesh.
Oh.
Rather, it circled around when the Native American warriors battled enemy tribes and then would swoop down and feast on the dead.
Interesting, but like a ghoul.
Yeah, necrophage, a vulture-ish.
Necrophage, exactly.
Anyway, that's some of the 10 Native American mythologies that were featured in this article.
Dang. Well, there you go, folks. I think that does it for another episode of Werewolf Radar. I learned a lot this time around, and
watch out for the perverted merman.
Terrified. Watch out for the perverted merman for sure, and go watch the Apache language version.
The Comanche.
I thought I got it I thought I got it right way this time. I specifically in my brain was like, no, Comanche's the wrong one. The Comanche language version of Prey. You can just edit that part out where I'm terrible. Also, shout outs to Chuck from Snappy Little Numbers for our intro and outro song. Also, if you like what we do, go hit us up on patreon.com/werewolf radar. You can get additional content and some merch and stuff. You can remind me that it's Comanche, you idiot, on Twitter for sure. You can follow us on Twitch, where every Monday we are playing TTRPGs at 4 p.m. Mountain Time. We've been playing Duster recently, which is a really cool kind of post-apocalyptic gas punk Western from Occupied Hex Games, which is...
And I think there's a good chance we're going to die in the next one. So
there's a good chance we're going to die in the next one. There's also a really good chance that we're going to live as we've never lived before. Boy, I was playtesting another game by Occupied Hex recently where things were going south. The cops didn't believe us that there were vampires preying on the homeless of the area. So I grabbed his gun, y'all. And I'm not saying you should do this, but the dice tell a story, and holy shit, what a story we were told that night. It's very cool stuff. So come watch us play Duster the week after today when this launches. So next week, we will be most likely back to playing our regularly scheduled D&D game where we are all bards, at least a little bit. We are in a band called Night Bastard, and the show is called Night Bastard. So go follow us on Twitch. You'll see some cool shit. You'll get to see my new camera. I'm so excited about my new camera. You can see every
You're
pore
looking good
on my stupid face.
Hit us up on that YouTube. Look at Jordan's pores.
Look at my pores. Look into
Enhance.
them. Enhance. Oh God, dehance.
Werewolfradar.com. Hit us up. We got a merch store
werewolfradar.com.
on there too. We also got to contact the
shit.
radar. If you got a spooky experience you went through, let us know.
Yeah, if you have a ghost story, we're really interested in recording it. We can't tell you about it, but tell us your ghost story, and we can maybe put it on blast somehow. Or we can keep it completely secret. You can come up with a fake name.
Or we will come up with a fake name. Your choice.
Yeah, whatever you like. But I think that does it, right?
I think so. We got a patron howl out next week. 14filmfestival.com. Check them out. We're judges there.
That is
Say
true.
hi to us. Wherever.
Yeah,
on the
just
street, on
the
Twitter.
street.
We're so lonely.
What have I forgotten? Is there a thing that I've forgotten?
I don't
or
think
is
you've
that
forgotten anything. I have a dentist appointment on Friday. Did you forget that?
I did
have
it.
to
Not
take
about
me.
that.
Roger's dentist appointment. Be sure to tune in to Roger's dentist appointment.
I'll live stream my
We're-
pain.
We're gonna see what lives inside of his gums. Is it a ghost?
Only the dentist knows. He goes to a particularly arcane and strange dentist who tries to scare the cavities out of your teeth.
Look at my teeth.
The
leeches.
denticist.
And incantations, exactly. So until next time, as always, on the count of three, our sign-off line. 1, 2, 3. Punch the sky, Spaceman
Joe. The moon's in the sky, so I wasn't totally wrong.
I think you did a great job.
Thank you.